Okay, guys, I have a new toy. Now I have a microphone so y'all can actually hear me, and I have a camera that likes to move where I move. So maybe this will make it a little bit easier when I go to doing demonstrations on how to prune things and such as that. So today I'm going to show you on the white Gaura that you've seen me do on multiple occasions. This is the one that you normally see me prune on because it seems to outgrow this one from time to time. So we had cut her back several weeks ago. Now this one has a lot of spent blooms, which just means that there are blooms that have already made their pretty and now they're trying to go to seed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to get them to grow at the same rate, even though this one does have some good blooms still on it. I'm going to just kind of cut them back similarly. That way now, hopefully, we can get them to where they're much more even throughout the remainder of the growing season when we go to prune them. So I'm just going to cut them like I always do with some kitchen shears, or these are my handy fabric shears that I have quit using for fabric quite some time ago. All right, just remember that what we're doing is we're just getting a handful, like a small ponytail, and clipping, okay? We're just gonna go through and do that on the entire shrub and our perennial that looks like a shrub until you get the shape that you want. Don't worry about cutting off blooms that look like they're just now starting to bud out, because that's not going to matter. These things prolifically bloom on new growth. So when you were younger and you used to hear, or even now, that, you know, the more you trim your hair, the more it grows. That's kind of the same concept with this. So I'm not going to do both of them on the video. I will probably post another either short video or comment to show what they look like afterwards once they're finally even. But this way you'll at least kind of get a good idea of what we're doing. Y'all are going to be so tired and bored of me using Gaura as an example for my pruning, since it tends to be the one that I do most of. But I know a lot of you are kind of worried to cut on some of this stuff because you're worried that it's not going to bloom again, and that's not the case. So don't even worry about that. So now that I have half of it, I'm trying to keep the video fairly short. I'm going to go ahead and pause it or stop it, and so that I can show you guys here in a minute the actual outcome of the final product. See y'all in a minute. Hey guys, I'm back. They're both pruned. This is the one that we started working on. So I have pruned her down a little bit lower than I originally done in the first portion of the video, just because I like to prune things where they're kind of spherical, but also a little shorter than they are wide, so it looks chunky. The reason that I like to do that, personally, it's just a preference, is because it makes the blooms look more dense, and therefore, you get a bigger show, in my opinion, which, everybody's got their own. I also pruned this one back to match her as well, since this was the initial overachiever. Her individual stems were a little bit thicker than this one, but that's not a big deal since they are very prolific, extremely hardy, and they bloom on new growth. I was able to cut her back about the same exact height, and in theory, hopefully, they'll continue from this point forward to start to put on blooms more equally. That way, when I do decide that I'm going to go back in and prune them, I can do them both at the same time, and we won't have one that's full of blooms and one that's sort of full of blooms, and vice versa. So that's my goal, at least. These can be pruned every so many weeks. Actually, you can prune them as much as you want to, but I tend to prune them every couple weeks, simply to encourage more growth and more blooms and more density. And they will continue to bloom all the way up until frost. So they're one of the few perennials that will do that, which is one of the reasons that they're my ultimate favorite. Other than that, they attract butterflies, and y'all know how I am about butterflies. So if y'all have any questions about these, please holler at me. This is the white Gaura. I currently have the pink Belize Gaura, and I'm going to try to get my hands on some more white, but I currently don't have any. So just inbox me, message me, comment if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys again soon about a different perennial.